Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. My name's Harry Colley, and I'm here with you I've drawn the short straw, basically, because I'm here to run through the Sunday game against Manchester United. 4-0 to Man United, at home for them, away for us, and arguably a low point in a season of surely it couldn't get any worse points. But here we are, a couple of days later, chance to reflect. So that's exactly what we're going to do here on the Toffee Blues. We're going to reflect on Manchester United 4, Everton 0. So we're going to start with the lineup prior to the game. And, were there many surprises? Were there many things where it was different to maybe what the fans wanted? I think the big one, of course, was Doucouré starting over Mangala, and also Beto starting over Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Aside from that, was it what we were expecting? Pretty much. Was the result what we were expecting? I mean, there'll be a portion of the fan base that says yes to this. I certainly wasn't. I did the match preview where I said I actually thought we might do an Ipswich and grind out a 1-1 against them, maybe frustrate Man United. They'd be tired playing this new kind of pressing style of football that Amarin's got them playing, maybe frustrate them. And I think Amarin's done a really good job, by the way, of playing down the fact that this style of football doesn't suit the players that he's inherited, that it's going to be intense, that they're not going to be able to play and train in the same week. He's kind of doing a very, very good job in the media of playing down his squad. Arguably a much better job than our manager's doing right now, but I am getting ahead of myself. Let's go back to the lineup. So we started off, of course, with Pickford in goal. Really good run of form from Pickford lately. I tipped him to be our key player. Young, Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Mykolenko. It's pretty much been that, maybe Keane in for Branthwaite while he was struggling with injury. Doucouré and Idrissa Gana Gueye. We've already talked about the fact that maybe Mangala should have been in there instead of Doucouré. And then Lindstrom, McNeil and Dyche, and Beto. And again, Beto in for Calvert-Lewin, who has been arguably out of form. Now, I saw a stat at the weekend about Beto's last games that he started ahead of Calvert-Lewin, and they were all against the kind of big six, the Sky Six, as we maybe refer to them as, and they were all away from home. And there's a lot of the tin hats coming out now, isn't there, about Dyche and where we're at this season, and the idea that maybe he just puts him in to games where he knows he's going to struggle, he knows he's not going to get the service that he needs, and he's then going to be sort of set up to fail, essentially, and maybe protect Calvert-Lewin in these bigger games. But that's the lineup. That's what we headed into the game. And for the first 30 minutes, we looked all right, didn't we? I think we looked organised, which is what we've come to expect from this incredibly frustrating Sean Dyche Everton side. We looked defensively well organised. Again, I think Ashley Young has been kind of a bit of a renaissance for him in terms of how he started the season to how he is now. Pickford, as we mentioned, a lot of great clean sheets from him, both for club and country. We've been tight at the back, and for 30 minutes, much of the same, really. Man United didn't look like they were going to do a lot. They looked like they were going to kind of like try and catch us out and try and do that press that they're trying to do now under Amarin, but ultimately we looked organised enough to deal with it. And then just mistakes, right? Like, we're 2-0 down at half-time. Marcus Rashford with both. I did predict Rashford would score for Man United. He was the one I said we'd watch. He definitely gets that new manager bounce whenever a new manager comes into Man United, which, is for a fair few times now. Rashford's been through that at Manchester United. But, Branthwaite unlucky. And he's not played a lot this season as well, as he's been out with injury. So I think there was a lot made of the fact that it was against Man United. It was against the side that were trying to buy him. But ultimately, from my money, it just happened. He maybe was unlucky. I mean, the second one, less so, just shows signs of maybe getting caught in a big occasion, in just showing maybe some signs of immaturity, which, to be fair, we've not really seen from him since he's come into the first team. But there we are, we're going 2-0 down after 30 minutes of being fairly comfortable. The biggest crime in this game for me is what happens next. Half-time, 2-0 down. We have an atrocious record at Old Trafford. Really don't do well there. It said in the match preview, it was Brian Oviedo's goal there years ago under Roberto Martinez, the first season after David Moyes leaves to go to Man United. It's the only time really we've won there, certainly in my lifetime, and I'm sitting here at like 32 years of age. So 2-0 down, we're not expected to get anything out of this game at that point. So at that point, it's about being organised, isn't it? It's about maybe trying to get a goal so that we can at least start December with something we didn't manage to do throughout the entirety of November, which was score a goal. And straight out after the break, we concede. Sloppy defending, really, really poor, like completely disinterested from the players, in my opinion, completely unorganised. Like, it just showed signs of the fact that there was just no interest in playing in this game. So second half, what the goals again we conceded. Now it's that thing, isn't it, that Everton, that where if you know a striker that's struggling for form, that's struggling for goals, you know, for Man United it was always Anthony Martial, and it turns out it's Xerxes this time. You know, he'd scored 1 goal so far this season. He scores goal 2 and 3 for Man United against us in the league anyway, and again probably like fully deserved. We weren't good. We didn't turn up there to play. I don't think. I think we turned up there to do what we do most weekends under Sean Dyche, which is 0-0. And then if we concede a goal, well, what do we do? So it was just poor. It's really hard to talk about, actually. I'm sitting here now with my notes in front of me. It's a really hard game to pick apart and analyse. There were 0 positives. You know, the one highlighted incident outside of the goals in the second half for us is Dwight McNeil with his hand over his mouth poorly. He couldn't even do that correctly. Laughing and joking with Marcus Rashford. We're 4-0 down. There was still about 25 minutes of the game left. I'm slowly turning into Roy Keane talking about modern footballers doing this and how it disgusts me. We have not got an identity on the pitch, and whatever the identity the manager's trying to imprint, it's for a side that should be much lower in the table than we should with the players that we've got. I think he's coaching us to be a 16th place side as opposed to coaching us to, you know, there was a lot of hope going into this season. Minus the points deduction, we would have been level on points with Brighton. We would have been, I think, 11th or 12th in the league come the end of the season. So why are we not showing that this season? Why are we still playing like a team and fighting like a team, or lack of fighting like a team, that are going to go down? And the point here is that stat so quickly has turned now, hasn't it? From we were unbeaten in 8 league games to now we didn't score a goal in November. We've had the first game of December with no goal. And we know this run gets harder. United, as I said in the match preview, they are the ones in this run of the big boys that we're going to play in December and early January that you maybe thought we'd eke something out of. And now the complexion is completely different. We have Wolves on midweek. It looks like tickets are going back. There's a lot of seats available. It looks like this might be a home game that we don't sell out. And then we go into the derby at the weekend against the Liverpool side, probably the strongest Liverpool side, the best coached Liverpool side we've seen in recent years. And it terrifies me, really. I think the game overall at the weekend just was not what we needed. Dyche said afterwards that it needs to be parked and we need to move on quickly. I think for him, it's great, this run, because for any bad result we get, there's going to be another game 2 or 3 days later where he's going to get to try again. But for me, the players look so disenchanted. The substitutions are just so uninspiring. But we know this, like how much of this that I'm saying here for the last 10 minutes has been left unsaid so far this season. The reality is it was 4-0 to Manchester United. Everton showed very little signs, apart from maybe, I think, a Calvert-Lewin attempt when he came off the bench. Maybe Dyche, again, doing what he does best off the ball. But did we have really anything of note, anything to talk about here? Hence why I'm just rambling about how bad our run is, how bad our current form is under the manager. You know, did anyone play well? No. Are the fan base right to be angry and annoyed? Yes. They should be. They pay good money. They travel away. Okay, Manchester's not very far from Liverpool, but they paid good money. That away end was sparse, and something we've always had, despite how bad we've been in recent years, is that fans stick it out till the end. And I think now we're at final straw territory. We'll see how it goes in midweek, but for now, Manchester United 4, Everton 0, and my oh my, do we need some improvement.